Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Unfiltered and Unapologetic, the space where we talk about healing, self awareness, emotional growth, mindset, and becoming the version of you that actually feels aligned, not just put together on the outside. I'm your host, Caitlin Gil-Soto, born and raised in Lawrence, Massachusetts, but grew up going back and forth between Bani and El Cibao, and proudly Dominicana. And today's episode is really a continuation of conversations we've already been having. If you've been listening for a while, you've heard me talk about your nervous system, your inner child, emotional patterns, preparation seasons. But today we're connecting it all because underneath all of that, there's one thing quietly shaping your life every single day: how you feel. Not just in big moments, but in the small, normal, everyday parts of your life. Because your life isn't created in your highlights, it's created in your baseline. A lot of people think their life is shaped by what they do: their habits, their decisions, their discipline. And yes, that does matter. But what's actually underneath all of that is how it feels to be you while you're doing those things. Because before you ever learned how to think, you learned how to feel. Before you had language, your body was already learning what feels safe, what feels tense, what feels unpredictable. So now, as an adult, you don't just think your way through life, you feel your way through life. And that emotional baseline, the way you feel most of the time, becomes the lens you experience your life through. It shapes what you notice, what you accept, how you respond, what you believe is possible for you. And most of this is happening automatically. Not because something is wrong with you, but because it's what you learned. I have the first journal prompt here for you guys. What emotional state do I return to the most without thinking? And the affirmation for this question is, I become aware of the patterns that once ran unconsciously. Now, this is where a lot of people get stuck. They understand themselves. They know I have anxiety, I people please, I struggle with boundaries. They've reflected. They've had realizations. But their life still feels the same. And that's because awareness is only the first step. You can understand your patterns mentally, but if your body still feels the same way, you will still live the same way. This is why you can know better, want better, even try to do better, and still feel stuck. Because your emotional baseline hasn't shifted yet, and your life will continue to reflect that baseline until it does. I have another journal prompt here for you guys. What do I know about myself that I haven't fully embodied yet? And the affirmation for this question is, I move from awareness into embodiment, one step at a time. Your life doesn't always reflect what you want. It reflects what feels normal. So even if you want peace, even if you say you want stability, even if you know you deserve better, if your body is used to stress, pressure, emotional inconsistency, feeling like you have to prove yourself, then calm can feel uncomfortable. Peace can feel unfamiliar. Stability can feel off. Not because it's wrong, but because it's different from what you're used to. And this is why sometimes people walk away from things that are actually good for them. Not because those things aren't aligned, but because they don't feel familiar yet. You might overthink something that's actually simple, question something that's actually healthy, pull back when things finally feel calm because your system is trying to return to what it knows, even if what it knows isn't what you want anymore. I have another prompt here for you guys. Have I ever walked away from something good because it felt unfamiliar? And the affirmation for this question is, I allow myself to stay present in what feels new. And this is the part that I really want you to sit with, because this is where everything shifts. Alignment is not what your life looks like. It's what your life feels like. And more specifically, it's what your life feels like when there's no one watching. When you're not explaining yourself, when you're not performing, when you're not distracted, just you. In your own space, in your own thoughts, in your own body. Because that version of you, that's the real baseline. Not the version that knows what to say. Not the version that looks like they have it all together. But the version that sits in silence and actually feels what's going on inside. And if we're being honest, that's the part a lot of people avoid. Because it's quiet, it's honest, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. But it's also where your power is. Because when you shift what it feels like to be you in that space, everything else starts to flow. I have the next journal prompt here for you guys. What does my inner world feel like when I'm completely alone? And the affirmation for this question is, I create peace within myself, even when no one is watching. And this is where it can get confusing, because sometimes your life looks fine, but it doesn't feel fine. You're handling your responsibilities, you're showing up, you're doing what you're supposed to. But internally, you feel disconnected or unmotivated or just not fully there. Like you're going through the motions, and that feeling, that's not random. That's your internal state trying to get your attention, because your external life can be functioning while your internal world is asking for something different. And instead of ignoring that or pushing past it, this is where you start listening. I have the next prompt here for you guys. Where in my life does everything look okay but feel off? And the affirmation for this question is, I trust myself enough to acknowledge when something doesn't feel right. You don't need to become someone else. You don't need to fix your entire life overnight. You don't need to start experiencing yourself differently. The real shift isn't, I need to change everything. The shift is, I need to change how it feels to be me on a daily basis. And that happens in small moments, in how you talk to yourself, in how you respond to stress, and whether you pause or just keep pushing. Little things, but they add up, because you are teaching your body something new. You're teaching yourself, I don't have to stay in that old feeling. I don't have to live from that same place anymore. And it doesn't happen all at once, but it happens. I have the last journal prompt here for you guys. What would it feel like to experience myself with more calm, trust, or softness? And the affirmation for this question is, I am allowed to feel different even before my life looks different. I want to leave you with this. Your life is not just shaped by what you do. It's shaped by how it feels to be you while you're doing it. And if something feels off, that doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean you're behind. It means something inside of you is asking for your attention. So instead of pushing past it, try listening. Try slowing down. Try asking yourself, how do I actually feel right now? Because that question alone can start changing your life. Now we're going to do the closing prayer. So put your hands on your chest and take a deep breath. Dear God, thank you for bringing me to this moment of awareness. Thank you for showing me the parts of me that are ready to grow, even if it feels uncomfortable. Help me slow down enough to actually feel what's going on inside of me, without running from it, without judging it. Help me create peace within myself, not just when things are going well, but even in the quiet, even in the in-between. Remind me that I don't have to become someone else overnight, that I'm allowed to change little by little, moment by moment. Help me release what no longer feels aligned, and give me the courage to stay in what feels new, even when it doesn't feel familiar yet. And most of all, help me trust myself. Help me trust what I feel. Help me trust where I'm being guided. Amen. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who's been feeling this too. And if you've been needing a space to actually sit with yourself, to process your thoughts, your emotions, and slow things down, my journals are linked in the show notes. They are there to help you reflect, reconnect, and realign with yourself. Don't forget to rate, review, and follow the podcast. It really helps more people find these conversations. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and everywhere podcasts are available. I'll see you in the next episode.